I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
For you to want to just shove it in there, start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating ass, it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, just, it's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.
What are you saying, bro? You are.
Stop, bro! Stop, bro, help me, and stop!
You gotta love it when right before the show goes live, you feel like you have a coughing fit. Love that. Welcome to Straight Red Card. And happy Memorial Day to all. Hope you had a good one. Yesterday was certainly, well, here in Indy, a busy day. We had the Indy 500, which was totally packed. 400,000 people there. 400,000 people. That's a lot of people. I don't think I've been to the Indy 500 when was that packed.
I was going to say, the few instances I actually caught of the race itself, yeah, the audience looked damn good.
Yeah, no, that was impressive as hell. The racing, not so good, kind of boring. And then, when New Garden's car blew up or whatever happened to it, that kind of was the end of the thrilling charge because he started in next to last in 32nd, and it made it all the way up into the top 10. And you thought, could he do it? And of course, the only reason he was back of the order all the way in 32nd is because Penske cheated again. His team.
That was one cheat.
Well, it's a spec series, so you can't fuck with the parts, right?
Gotcha. Yep.
Everybody's supposed to use the same parts. Yeah. So they decided they were going to fuck with the attenuator, which is the little piece in the back. And so they got punished. And then Scott McLaughlin crashes his car on the warm-up lap. How do you do that? I don't think he knew it either. He was devastated. So that was the Indy 500. And it was boring also because the same guy keeps winning every IndyCar race. That's Palau. And I can't blame him. He's just that good. Hard to blame somebody that's just that good. And if Cadillac has any sense next year when they draw Formula One, they got to sign this guy from IndyCar and take him to Formula One. Because frankly, he's that good. I mean, there's no other way around it right now. And then, of course, the F1 race was completely boring because that's Monaco. And the cars are too big for the track, and so you can't pass. There's no passing. They just go around in a train all day. It's really boring. But the Pacers, then they lost, so it was a rough Sunday, right? They're still up in the series 2-1. So that's kind of what's going on here locally. I don't know. Did you see that Liverpool victory parade thing?
I was just I saw people talking about it in the chat, so I was like, what the hell's happening here?
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome. I guess 47 people mowed down by a guy in a wagon.
2 serious injured, a man arrested after a car collides with pedestrians.
Yeah, it's a 53-year-old guy. So far, no information about what he is or who he is. Is it possible he just panicked? I mean, maybe. Is it possible he got his
maybe not terrorist, just a drunk guy driving or panicked?
Panicked, drunk. Because he just, at one point, he just stops after he mows down the majority of them. He just stops the car. Right? I mean, why are you stopping? Just keep going. If this
apparently
is a terrorist
the police are saying that it's not bad guys.
Right. It's just a guy who could have been drunk, could have panicked, could have got. I've heard sometimes of the gas pedals getting stuck down. But what was he doing in the parade in the first place? He wasn't supposed to be there. So that's suspicious as well.
Sure.
Yeah, so we don't know. We really don't know any of the facts yet, and they're not telling us. And I looked up most recent report about an hour and a half ago, and there was nothing new. So horrible. I hope everybody's okay. And sorry for such a serious fluff time here, but yeah, I hope everybody's fine. Yeah, that's all I got. I mean, I hope you had a great. We had yesterday on Sunday, and we had steaks and crab. Really good. Mwah. Steak, surf and turf, right? You know, you don't like the.
I like the turf, just not the surf.
And my theory is going to be maintained that it's because you had crappy seafood when you were young.
That's always possible.
I mean, if you don't have it fresh, yeah.
Yeah, that's not Indiana's, big thing, fresh seafood and all. There's some places that can have some good fresh seafood, but, not a place to always go.
You got to go to Keplinger's or whatever it's called. Right there on... is it like 76th and not too far from us, actually. Well, further for you than me, but it's the only fresh seafood market, right? I've eaten a lot of crab, but I've never actually had crabs. So thankfully I somehow managed to get away with that. So
dodge that bullet.
Yeah. Colin says he sent us a video. I have to admit, I was on Twitter today for a total of 10 minutes, and that was really fast just to find some topics we might want to discuss today or to supplement what we were going to discuss today. So
just a little bit today.
Days, huh?
I did it just a little bit today.
Yeah, I haven't touched it all weekend. So
like I posted the comment about Pulisic, and then I just sort of put my phone away.
Yeah.
I'm like throwing, hitting that bee's nest or whatever, beehive, and then just closing the door behind me while all the kids are running around because they're getting stung.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, let's start the show. What the hell? And for all 102 of you already here, which is crazy, I guess there's maybe not much to do tonight, right? It's a Monday. I actually forgot it was Monday all day today. My brain was telling me Sunday, it's Sunday. No, yesterday was Sunday. But that's what happens when we get these days off. And plus, I'm out for the summer, right? I'm done.
Yeah.
So
Moore says Indiana has the most square miles of interstate highway. That's why we're the crossroads of America.
Yeah, but a lot of that highway sucks. Go to 465. A lot of it is just a total clutter mess because they have left lane entry from exits or entries.
Primarily only on the south side.
Yeah, and that south side, well, that's where I'm coming home from every day. And it's a total disaster.
Nothing like entering the interstate in the fast lane, right?
Yeah.
That was a brilliant decision.
I do it every day, too, And then the next two exits have... Yeah, the next two exit areas both have left side entry into the highway. What genius came up with that? It's the worst thing you could possibly do. All right, anyhow. Yeah. All right, so we got things to talk about today. So let's just smack them around and see what happens here.
U17 Sega's announced the U17 roster for this upcoming training camp.
Segaris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sega.
Can you blow it up? Oh, you said Sega. Oh, that's just like his nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to know a lot of these kids, honestly. Anybody named Christopher Cups is all right by me.
And Court Camp, the kid from Sporting, isn't he the goalkeeper from Sporting?
Probably. Kevin Sullivan's on there in the midfield.
Cups, the Chicago guy. He's the 17-year-old center back you told not to whip out the lube when he first got his minutes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I remember. I recognize names. I just don't know where they're from or anything like that for the most part.
Yeah. So
and anybody who follows the youth game is saying that hey, this is a pretty damn good. Roster.
Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna take their. I just go by the results usually.
Yeah. The glaring miss or omission here is Matisse, but Matisse is actually going to be with Dortmund on the Club World Cup. He was one of the few youth players invited to come join them on the trip.
That's pretty
not
cool.
To play, but to experience it all.
Well, that's okay. Rain is probably not playing either.
I can just see Dortmund's like, hey, Matisse, we're going to invite you to experience what America has to offer.
Well, Cole Campbell's still injured too, by the way, right?
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's been injured for what? 4 months, 5 months now? Going on 4 or 5 months. So nothing going good there for him health-wise. Hopefully, whatever it is. And as Germany usually goes, unlike when a player's injured in England, you never get to find out, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is Marcus Chavez actually a scout? I don't think he is. I have no idea what he is. I'll be honest. But,
I know he follows the youth game. I mean, whether he's a scout for somebody, I don't know. I know Pete had some choice words to say about him, but
yeah, I don't know who he is.
I mean, as a whole, he follows youth game and he reports on him nonstop. So
yeah,
whether he's a scout or just an avid watcher, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some discussions in the past with him on Twitter, but that's been quite small. And it's usually, hey, let's not get too worked up about this player.
Yeah.
So. All right, what else we got?
Oh, I'm just looking up the age of a player real quick.
Christopher Cups?
No, where's it at?
I like the alliteration of his name, Christopher Cups. I like that. Everybody should do that. Like Wilp's first name should be William Wilp. Vila's name should be Vicious Vila. They should all fix all this. So they all, every single player on the team has an alliteration going.
So Birchmas is 17.
Okay.
I think he's eligible based on his dates. He's February of whatever age. So he just turned 17 recently.
Right.
So World Cup's this summer. So he could be on this roster. He's just not included on this specific one, I guess.
Okay. All right.
But I bring this up. Let me just go close that out. We'll close this up. Bring this up because we got our World Cup group. Group I.
Group I. Okay.
There's like 40,000 teams invited to this World Cup.
How many? 40?
I have no idea how many groups. But we're in Group I.
Yeah. A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
10?
H, I. So 10 groups of 4 is 40. Yeah.
At least 40. 48 maybe, I guess.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a group J too. That would make 10 because you wouldn't just do 9. 9 would be 36. 9 times 4 is 36. Maybe there's 36.
I think they're BMR says it's 48. I think they're meeting up with
holy Moses.
That our World Cup is doing too.
I mean, we got Tajikistan in our group, right?
Yeah.
So they must be inviting a whole lot of people, dude. 12 groups of 4 says Jorge Castillo. So that's a lot of teams. I want to know who the so it's New Zealand and who else is my question, because that means at least 2 people from Oceania made it.
Where's Burkina Faso from?
Africa.
That's Africa?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Can we get on to Wikipedia and look at all the groups real quick?
Yep.
So we can have a laugh or two about some of the teams that made it. So the problem with having 48 is that they're just going to be teams that are just going to get absolutely slaughtered. I mean, Czechia it's going to be okay, right? They should have a handful of people that are okay. Tajikistan has 0 soccer history whatsoever, has their own selves, their own country. So, all right, Qatar, Italy, South Africa, Bolivia. That's actually a decent group.
Yeah, no. Looking back at our group now, I'm going, God damn, we got a lot of flight.
Yeah, that's an actual decent group. What's the next one? Japan, Morocco.
Yeah, got to be tougher.
Yeah, but New Caledonia is going to get erased by the rest of these teams. Absolutely erased. And they're the other Oceania entry.
Well, there you go.
They're going to get destroyed.
Let's see if it gets more difficult.
Senegal, Croatia, Costa Rica, and UAE. That's a pretty decent group. No one's getting wiped there, I don't think. No one's getting wiped. So far, we only have one team or two that are going to get wiped. Kazakhstan, probably going to get wiped.
Yeah.
New Caledonia is going to get beyond wiped. They're going to get destroyed, thrown around, and tossed in a ditch somewhere. Oh. Argentina, Belgium, Tunisia, and Fiji. There are 3 Oceania teams now. Unless somehow New Zealand didn't make it, Fiji's another one. Fiji's going to get motorboated in this group. Absolutely destroyed. It's going to be between Fiji and New Caledonia as to who's going to have the worst goal difference. And I'm thinking somewhere around minus 30. If I'm putting money on it.
Look at this and go, man, we just really got off light.
So far.
England, Venezuela, Haiti, and Egypt.
That's a decent group. Like England should be better than all the rest of them.
In that sense, so quite frankly, but
all the other countries have a soccer history. Although Venezuela is mostly a baseball country.
God damn!
Whoa, that's a tough group.
That's
all
rough,
the way
man.
across it. Yeah,
that is rough.
Mm-hmm.
LOL, but that's rough.
I still haven't seen New Zealand yet, so maybe they didn't make it.
South Korea, Ivory Coast, and Switzerland.
That's a good group.
Germany, Colombia, North Korea, and El Salvador. Yeah.
I mean,
El Salvador knockout stage. Look at that.
El Salvador put up a fight. It's hard to say how good North Korea is. Hard to say.
Got to make it to third.
But they're probably not going to get spanked, is my guess. Or they'll be executed upon returning back to North Korea.
Brazil, Honduras, Indonesia,
Zambia. Huh. I don't know.
Brazil's looking at it going, excellent.
Yeah, because they're going to beat every one of these teams. But Honduras should put up a good fight, you would think. And Indonesia.
This was the first group, Group H. This was the first group that I'm like, okay, well, this is competing with us for being as light of a group.
Yeah. For Brazil, sure. Although Honduras won't be any pushover. And Zambia, I mean, don't have much of a history in international soccer, but, you know, we've seen teams pop up before. I mean, when the Ivory Coast popped up many years ago out of nowhere, you're like, Ivory Coast is good at soccer? Because we were kind of used to Nigeria, Cameroon, and Egypt, and Morocco, and all of a sudden, Ivory Coast are a good team.
How do they put these groups in placements? I mean, it's not alphabetized.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is United States number 1? And I mean, I know it's just they just put them in there, of course. And there's no rhyme or reason, I'm sure, but
Czech Republic, that's going to be a tough one.
Sure.
But Burkina Faso, I mean, could be tough. I don't know. I don't know about their development.
I think New Zealand missed out on this.
Is this the last group?
No.
Okay.
There's another one.
Okay, Paraguay,
Uzbekistan, Panama, and Republic of Ireland.
That's a pretty good group, except for Uzbekistan.
That's a group that you could look at and just go, yeah, could be anybody.
No, I don't think it's going to be Uzbekistan.
You don't think it's going to be Uzbekistan, huh?
No, I think they're the ones.
Could almost be everybody. Let's put it that way. Like I said, it's true. That's true. You look back at some of the hard groups, and you're going, well, it could be anybody. That could be anybody.
Well,
like the Mexico group, that could have been anybody.
You go by history. Panama has a history. Paraguay doesn't have much of one, but at least they're in South America. That's a plus. Uzbekistan, they're the sheep herding country. I don't know. I'm just making that up.
Hey, we beat them 3-0 recently, so.
Yeah, true. So, I don't know. They're not going to get slammed, though. They're not going to get destroyed. There we go. Not like Fiji and New Caledonia are going to get destroyed. And none of these teams will get destroyed either. So, should be pretty competitive.
Yeah.
with France winning the group.
There's a Group L. There's New Zealand.
There's New Zealand. So 3 Oceania teams make this tournament. Are you being kidding me?
I think it was 4, wasn't it?
No, it was New Zealand, New Caledonia, and Fiji.
Fiji, and I thought there was one more.
Nope. That was it.
Go back through real quick. I could have swore we were already at 3 when we were like, Honduras or whatever.
Nope. Indonesia's Asia. North Korea's Asia. South Korea's Asia. Yep. That was
Fiji,
it.
New Caledonia. You're right. I thought we said 3 earlier, so never mind.
Well, 3's too much already. I mean, 2 should be max. This is ridiculous. Hey, happy Memorial Day to all of you there, too. Yes, New Caledonia is a beautiful island. I mean, I've seen photos. But soccer? I don't know.
Indonesia is close to Oceania.
It is, but it's not a part of Oceania. They qualify through Asia. All right, so there it is. All right, let's move on to something we know something about.
We know something about something?
I mean, not everything about all things, but we know a little about everything.
Yep, jumping away from these 17s. Meanwhile, in MLS.
Yeah, I saw that, and then I watched the vid of the fight. This is San Diego game, right?
Yeah. Man, San Diego's had a hell of a first season here, man. I mean, they've been doing pretty well on the field, but the fans have been pretty active too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like every week we have San Diego's team coming out saying like, we do not condone this X, Y, or Z, and then you see pictures of fights breaking out.
I mean, are they fighting?
What is happening in San Diego right now?
Are they fighting each other, or are they fighting opposing fans?
They're LAFC, I believe.
Huh.
That was the battle. San Diego versus LAFC. Or was it Galaxy?
It might have been the Galaxy. Galaxy,
it was
I think.
one of you LA fans.
Could have been.
LA teams.
And Jackie D says LA Galaxy are so bad. Yes, they are. Yes,
Miguel says in the LA San Diego fan fight, looks like someone's dad punched a teenager.
Probably because the teenager mouthed off. That'd be my guess. Well, anyhow, that's too bad.
Solid enough reason to lay into a teenager, right?
Yeah. Hey, you really think Ronaldo's coming down the list?
Although it makes sense that he's pulled out his belt. You know, maybe the dad needed to pull off his belt for the teenager at some point in his life. I don't know.
Oh no, he's using that as almost like nunchucks.
Yeah.
And a weapon.
Quite frankly, if you're going to whip someone with a belt, you're not going to use the actual buckle part. You put that in your hand and you wrap it around a couple times.
No, he's whipping them with the metal part at the end.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying normally if you whip somebody with a belt, you would do this, not this on the screen.
Oh, right.
Normally, yeah.
He's nunchucking it here.
Blame it on the alcohol.
Probably.
I mean, it's something in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, this sort of idiocy is always somewhat fueled by and powered by alcohol. There's no doubt. All right. So
on a more positive note, sorry, you're going to chime on there?
No, I was going to say, stop fighting. Yeah.
You know, at least go in the back alleys and do it. Don't do it in the stands. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, on a more positive note, Derek, a player who will not be here in the summer made the Premier League Team of the Year.
And he played this weekend.
Hey, nice.
Which, okay, as some of the people made the argument, every game's important because every place is important because you get paid more the higher you finish up the table.
Yeah.
So if you're Fulham, you're playing Jedi, period. And that's what they did. Now,
well, I mean, they haven't played him in the past handful of games, though. I mean, right? He went a couple of weeks there without really playing.
It was on again, off again. On again, off again. He played, then not play, then play, then not play. Yep.
Fulham, yeah, I mean, here we are. Fulham, this is one of the situations, again, same thing with AC Milan. People brought this to my attention when I made the comment about how Pulisic is too tired and injured to play for the USMNT national team this summer, but he's able to play in what seems to be a meaningless friendly. And quite frankly, it was in the sense, what?
You did say seems.
Yeah, it's true.
So you got cover.
Exactly. That's how you got to cover your ass all the time, right? But I mean, and quite frankly, when it comes to what they're playing for the team itself, they're going, well, like the players, like, well, we're not making Europe anywhere, but we're not also not getting relegated. From their standpoint, kind of a meaningless game, kind of almost practically friendly. But from the administrative standpoint, you're right, and they're right too. Wherever you fall on that table, may depict on making X amount of millions more or less.
Yep, exactly. So,
and in this situation, Fulham were 11th place, and they are 1 point above Crystal Palace. I mean, if they didn't win, hold on. Did they win this match?
No, I don't think.
No, I don't think they did. I think they lost.
They lost, yeah.
So if Palace wouldn't have tied their match, they played
they would have moved past them. Yep.
They would have moved past them. They would have lost. Understandable at this point, and quite frankly, hell, I'm looking at the standings right now. If Fulham would have won, they actually would have catapulted themselves all the way up to 9th place.
Yeah.
So I guess looking at it from those standpoints, from an administrative standpoint, I can understand playing a player, even if they're in talks of being injured and needing to rest and recover.
However, somebody did put up that list of all the superstars playing for other major squads.
I guess that. We'll get to that in just a bit.
And they're all going to play for their national team, but
surprising, yeah.
All right. So that's that.
I already mentioned this. When T-Cell Bear is going to be traveling with the first team to go to the Club World Cup. It's a nice experience for him to train and watch the event.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But it's also nice for U.S. fans to see, a 16 going on 17-year-old that's being included, or actually 15 going on 16, I believe is what it is, being included with the first team just to experience this, because that's a clear indication that they see the promise in the kid.
I think so.
From my standpoint, at least, right?
I think so, and just based on how he played this season, yeah. I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to be moving up to the U23s, right? The two teams.
That was the rumor. That was the rumor that he was going to be moving up to that point. The second team, if you will.
So that's a big step for a guy that's
just
15?
made the jump. Yeah,
15
just
years
made the
old?
jump this season.
Yep. They are not. They're usually really good, Dortmund, about picking their super youngsters.
Yeah,
and who they're going to invest in. It worked out with Pulisic. It looked like it was going to work out with Reina.
It looked like it was going to until injuries started coming about.
Well, yeah, I don't want to go through that whole thing again. And, we'll see. I mean, what if we're shocked and Reina actually plays some serious minutes in the Club World Cup?
We could all be surprised by that, Derek.
Well, the only thing is, aren't the guys that have been playing a full season already tired? Aren't they kind of worn out?
Sure.
Aren't the Julian Brandts and some of the other dudes a little tired? I would think you would see some younger players, especially in the games where they pretty much know they're going to win them.
Should win it, yeah. Start mixing it up a bit, right? Just do some rotation in there. You're right. Some of these players have played a lot. They're going to have heavy feet, and they're going into what should be their time off and recovery.
Mm-hmm.
To just simply play in what some fans have been criticizing as a cash grab for many a year.
Well, and the players' associations have been saying enough's enough already. So we might see a lot of rotation in this Club World Cup, which, we got to hope for, because the last game of the season for Juventus, McKennie and Weah started off the bench. So that's not good. But it could be just a choice of giving McKennie rest, right? So we'll find out about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. What else we got? What we got?
We got.
Technically, BMR, you're right. There's not really any particular players' association, but there are players who have been bitching and complaining about this. Maybe if there was an actual players' association in union, they'd have more say over all these games that they're being forced to play. All these ridiculous things like Conference League, whatever the fuck that is. The third division of European football, club football championships. I won't get back into that.
Colin, he's posted about the Jamaica video multiple times on our chat. So, hey, Colin, if tag me in the video again because I can't sort through my all my notifications. Tag me in it. I'll watch it, and we'll probably bring it up on Thursday. It's my guess. But I'm not gonna play a random video without knowing what it's on it live. That's dangerous.
Yeah. Yep.
Not that I think you would send us anything that would put our channel in danger, but it's still very it's questionable for us to do. So
yeah,
tag me in again. I'll watch it. I'll see what's up. I know he mentioned it's a Jamaican guy kind of responding to Edgar to an extent or to a point Edgar make or something like that.
Oh,
it does have cussing, but in fairness, we curse too. So that
we curse.
Yeah.
But
as far as moving along here, we got something. I think this.
Do not panic. Do not panic. Cap them now. Cap them now. All right. U.S. Youth National Team left back Manu Romero, 09, has signed his first professional contract with Real Madrid. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. It's really cool.
14 going on 15?
Yeah. Young kid. We'll see what happens here.
Or 15 going on 16?
It's a fucking massive club to sign.
15 going on 16, yeah.
But then, these days with Lamal doing all he's doing, it's kind of like, or if you weren't a superstar by the time you're 16, it's not fair what that guy's doing at Barcelona, really. It's just not, But then again, you should be, if you're going to be a superstar, you usually are at least getting a sniff from the big boy team, right? A sniff meaning you're making the bench or you're on a roster.
In fairness for Romero here, he's a left back, so he doesn't have quite the shoes to fill like Lamal. So
what I'm saying is he's not going to be that good, as good as. But saying that, of course, how many players are as good as he is at Barcelona at this age?
That's fair, or worldwide in general.
I mean, we saw Ronaldo play in his teens, Messi, but these are rare animals, really. So,
But props to Manu. Hopefully he works his way up, and we'll see him one day.
I mean, Pulisic played for Dortmund at 16, right?
True.
And that's
when you talk. I think it's apples and oranges when we're talking about Dortmund, which has habitually been a youth development club.
But it does tell you he's maybe not on that level, but there's something special about him, right? Yeah. Kind of like Cole Campbell. There's something else we always talk about
here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Something else we always talk about here as well is we've always had, for decades now, we've always had American players playing at various random academies, especially even top academies. Do they pan out? I mean, John Thornton was over at Man United.
Right.
I mean, he panned out to be a journeyman in MLS in the end, mainly due to injuries, but you just didn't pan out. Kenny Cooper, same thing.
Yep. We will get to the Diego Luna situation. Just let us get there.
We're going to Diego situation?
We're going to get there.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about Diego Luna, obviously.
I'm sure we are.
Here's the crazy thing. With this lineup of 16 guys from MLS that are making the team, I had come to grow into the impression, falsely, based on how we were progressing as a country in soccer, the sport, that our team going forward was going to be like 98%, 96% European players. I had come under the false impression that in order for you to make the U.S. men's national team, you probably were going to have to go to Europe. And that's what I've been saying for a long time. And it's just not true under Poch. It's not true. Guys are going to get looks here. This is crazy town, and we'll get into it. Some of them we wanted to get looks, and we're happy about. We've been talking about Luna for a long time and said, well, I always said I don't think he's going to get a chance because he's not in Europe. But
I was glass half full in that one.
I love Diego Luna. I wish he would get a chance. Well, not only is he getting a chance, but it looks like he could be starting.
I think he's going to be getting the keys to the car, man.
I think so. So the standards have changed. I think for even Greg Berhalter, if you were playing in Europe and you were playing in Serie B, that was better than MLS because he's calling up Kevin Lund, right? From Serie B before he's looking at MLS guys. So the times, they are a-changing. All right.
All right, what else we got here? I know what we got.
Before we get to the main topic.
Transfer news, transfer news. Who's getting mounted on transfer news? Who's getting over on transfer news? Transfer news. Everyone loves that transfer news but me. Whatever.
I called him Kevin Lund again. I just can't help myself. This is what happens when you knew somebody in your childhood that had a very similar name and you just can't get it out of your head and you just keep calling them. It's like the Down situation for me as well.
Yeah.
Dominic.
Already wrapped 13 for $4.99 says might be a tactic to light a fire under our stars.
I don't know. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying
I don't know.
is
You got to take into consideration the comments he was kind of mentioning, because I know English is kind of his second or third or fourth. I have no idea language. It's not his primary language, put it that way. And he was basically saying, "Hey, we had all of our names and they didn't perform, and then all of a sudden now he's calling in a bunch of." Now I don't want to say no names by any means, but they're not names, if you will.
I mean, the players that people know are like Luna.
Yeah.
And some of the goalkeepers. Outside of that, well, and Miles Robinson, because he's been there before. But
sure. But it could absolutely be hey guys, you either again, then not only that, but then he mentions, and I don't know if I've got it pulled up or not, but he mentions the comment about like, hey, the national team camp, you come here to play. You don't come here to see your friends. You don't come here to see your family.
Play golf.
Date your girlfriends. Play golf. You come here to play. So it's possible that this is maybe Poch's way of saying, hey, you guys aren't guarantees. You got to come here and perform. Every frickin' camp.
Didn't Berhalter have a quote about that too?
Berhalter, I think his quote was, you guys remember the African dogs at the zoo we went to?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, you mean recently? Just recently?
Yeah, what he said about the national team. He was kind of like, well,
we got a little too lax. Yeah,
we got too lax. In fact, I was concerned about that when I was the coach, that we were getting too lax. And he's trying to course correct. I get it.
Yep.
Well, Jesus. Yeah, it could be a tactic.
Could be RD.
Could be, but it also could be he really believes, as he said, that's a good question, that, as he said, these players that he's bringing in are on the same level, and I quote, as the guys that have been left back in Europe. Because Tessman's complaining now a little bit, not directly at Poch, but he's saying,
he made the comments like, well, as an MLS, people said, hey, he's good with the ball, but he can't defend worth shit. So then he went to a league to learn how to defend. I think I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Right. And now he knows how to defend it. Now they say he's not good on the ball. He said, I can't win. Fuck. And now he's not making the team.
So Colin does ask if he can change the roster after friendly. So I don't know if it was last show. Was last show?
We talked about it. Yeah.
We talked about the possibility because a couple people were alluding. They're like, hey guys, remember this is just the training camp roster.
Right.
And then the Gold Cup roster has to be submitted by June 4th.
Correct.
So I don't know.
But then Poch said more or less, well, no, the players that are going to play in the Gold Cup are going to be made from this group because they're going to be together.
Again, paraphrasing can be yes.
We're doing the best. 100%. Yeah, we're doing the best. It's hard to understand him. So although his more recent answers or interviews are more clear about what he's saying.
And you know what? I'm going to put it this way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because our first game against Turkey is June 7th, so we have to have the roster out by June 4th.
Yep.
This is done. It's done.
It's
basically
done deal.
we're gonna he's gonna have to cut one goalkeeper. And oh man, I didn't want to pull it up just yet, but it looks like that one goalkeeper might be Schulte.
Why 4?
Let me find it real quick.
Oh, Stefan, Schulte, Ream, all out injured this weekend, says Jorge Castillo.
Oh wow. He might have
That's
made some changes. Okay, I didn't know Ream was there. I had a Schulte one pulled up. Here we go. This is what I had pulled up. But he got replaced in the lineup due to an injury during warmups. Who knows how serious that actually is?
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah. By the way, Jack
Pineda, Poch is going to have to mull over.
Jack Pineda just ripped a fat one, he says.
Oh, nice.
Hope your stepsister isn't right next to you.
Unless she's into that thing, I don't know.
Yeah, she could be.
We don't judge here.
There are people that are into fart sniffing. Absolutely.
We might go ew, but you know, you're your own thing here.
Right.
Alex Freeman, which again, up until this window, I have never heard or seen or watched. But I know a couple of people in the chat have mentioned some really positive things about him. You would mention some positive things about him.
Yep.
Apparently, he's getting some look by. He's getting an offer by Parma, which I don't think. I guess $2 million is going to be too low for.
It is
Orlando
going to be probably too low. Yeah.
But apparently, some English championship teams are looking. You know.
We'll see. That's not surprising either. But I'd rather you go to Parma. I think he'd get a chance right away. Yeah, I mean, this offer is just probably not going to be high enough, more than likely.
Yeah.
They're looking for 4, and they're being offered 2. So.
Yeah. Parma scathed or, sheathed off or whatever. They staved off relegation. Let's put it that way. They are free and clear. That'd be a move into Syria.
And they got great cheese.
Exactly right.
They got great cheese.
The best cheese.
They
know all about cheese. Everything they know. Here's just more information about it. 20 years old, got his first window call up. Promised to play with loads of potential. Yeah. I just had multiple. Well, yeah, he's his team, so makes sense.
Yeah, but he's very critical of Orlando. So if he didn't like
That's fair too. That's fair too. Yeah.
He would say it. So, all right. Well, yeah. I mean, he's a solid athlete. His technical skills are pretty decent, and he's fast. Just all get out. So, and he's so young, so he's still got some learning to do. Busio, which I noticed, didn't feature with Venetia's in their 3-2 loss to Juve. Imagine my disappointment turning that on, and there's no Busio starting because he's out and injured. All right.
Yeah.
No way, and no McKennie playing until later. McKennie came in, but I was like, well, fuck this game then.
Yeah, I mean that's really weird. That I hadn't heard any injuries or anything like that with Busio, but that's weird that he didn't play in a match that they needed a win.
And will they sell him? Probably, because he's
have to at this point, right?
There's only one other player that they bought for as much money as him on the team. $6.5 million. So they have one other player worth that right now, market value wise.
Yeah.
2 players on the team worth 6.5, and after that, it's kind of downhill. It's 6, 5, 4 here and there, but most of those guys are $500,000. So,
but I mean, if he wasn't injured and they're looking to offload him and sell him, for one, again, they were battling relegation and they needed the win. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick because I forgot where they were at in the table. I know they're in like 19th or
they're out.
They're out now, yes.
So
but they needed a win. Yeah, they needed to win against it.
Yes, BMR makes a good point.
I wouldn't have mattered
for one of the most expensive guys on the team, market value wise. Did not have a really great season. He wasn't the best player on the team or anywhere near it, right? And if you are valued at that kind of money, you're really expected to perform. And it's not like he didn't. He wasn't a slacker. He wasn't poor. He just wasn't what they needed in order to get over the hump and stave off relegation. So,
and quite frankly, it wouldn't have mattered anyways because Lecce ended up beating Lazio. And that put him 4 points above Venezia. Even with the win, they'd still be in relegation. So it wouldn't have mattered one way. But you couldn't have predicted that. Who would have predicted Lecce actually beating Lazio?
Right.
But then again, the better odds than beating Juventus.
Yeah. And the fact that he was left off of Poch's, roster, 27-man roster, I don't know what to think of that. Because was it injury? Or was it that he's just not going to be taking guys like Desmond and Busio and not interested in Yao or Paxton Aronson or, the list goes on guys he's not interested in. Aiden Morris. Who else am I leaving out here? Wiley, Tolkien. Obviously not interested in Nathaniel Brown at all. Hasn't called him. A sociopath in the Philippines for $2. Thank you, brother. What about Gio to Sunderland? Is he affordable? Would he be affordable?
I think EPL teams could afford him, sure.
Did they win that? Are they in?
Yeah, they won.
Holy crap, what an upset. Wow.
Yeah.
Because, listen, at the end of the season,
I think they won 2-1, I think.
Sunderland looked dead and gone, honestly. And they barely...
They're in fourth.
But they held on for that position. Because they were doing so great early in the season, and they just barely held on and got into the playoffs. I mean, that's his dad's old team, too. I think his dad played Sunderland. So they'd have that connection at least. I don't know if Sunderland are interested. And I don't know how much money they're going to be willing to spend. But I still think that Reyna will be a discount sale compared to the $60 million
I suspect he's going to be looking at like 6 to 8. That's where I'm ranging.
Which is unbelievable. When he was once worth $60 million.
40. I think it's
40 million. Yeah, right. That's a long way from $40 million. So
that's a great point, guys. They are mentioning how
he's born there.
Yeah.
So maybe
interesting. I would. There are other leagues I'd prefer him to be in.
Me too.
That play to his strength. Sure. I think he needs to go to a club that's willing and wanting to play him. Period.
Yeah. So. And it could be a promoted team in. Well, he says he doesn't want to play in Germany anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunately cutting your options quite drastically. I don't know why he said such a stupid thing. Well, maybe he didn't. Maybe that's just what was reported. Yeah. But, Italy, Spain, beggars can't be choosers. He needs to go find the best spot for him. And cutting anybody out of that is just stupidity. If he goes to Sunderland, he should just prepare himself for being relegated the next season because that's the trend. 3 teams go up, 3 teams go down. The same ones. Yeah. That's what we're doing here. So S27, the news came out that Reyna said he did not want to play in the Bundesliga any longer. I don't know if that's true. It was, I
did a quick search on AI and everything like that. Nothing popped up. It said Gio Reyna leaving Germany.
It was a German source, so that might make it more difficult.
I mean, it could have been like not a lost in translation per se, but I mean, from the German source to English in the sense of leaving Dortmund, it could have been described as leaving Germany. But
I'm just telling you what I read. I can't even remember the source.
I remember you bringing it up. We brought it up.
It was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm sure we mentioned the source then. I don't remember.
Let me go back to find it right now. Yeah. We're in the middle of the stream here. So
right. So Florian Plettenberg says more of on our exclusive news about Joe Bellingham. Eintracht Frankfurt are very have a very good feeling after his visit today. Sticking point is the transfer fee. Yeah, I mean, so his point being U.S. men's national team report says, hey, I don't like this for Paxton. Frankfurt seem to be on the hunt for a ton of midfielders. That's true. And they're going to be playing in the Champions League next year. So they
already have Paxton. So I mean, at the point they're going to want to sit there and bolster up their midfield and everything. So it's up to Paxton at this point to really stand out when he goes back, or unless Utrecht comes back with a pricey enough loan option for another year.
I'd be shocked if they did, but they're playing Europa League, so they need to hold on to him.
They're pushed for it. There's talks there.
There are talks. I just don't think their pockets are deep enough. That's the problem. To bring him there permanently.
And if you're Frankfurt, the point though, wouldn't you want to try him maybe a little more difficult opposition than going back to Utrecht?
I would think so. I think he's ready to go play.
He flat out killed it there in Holland. Let's try him somewhere a little more difficult.
Yeah, take a loan to Heidenheim. They just survived today.
Yeah.
They barely beat Elversberg in like extra time, 2-1, to save their asses from being relegated.
Yeah.
So go play for them, unless they want to go back and grab Maloney, who not going to play for Mainz. Sorry that they don't play that way. Mainz don't. As long as the current manager is there, they don't play a destroyer. So
I mean, he I don't know if he just needs to go back and start reminding people, hey guys, look at my transfer market. I used to play center back.
Right.
Play me at center back. I don't know.
Someone get interested in me playing center back. Yeah. That's a good idea. But Paxton could have a lot of other choices because there are a lot of teams that are quite impressed with him. It wouldn't shock me if like Feyenoord was interested in taking a loan that they could probably afford, but Utrecht can't. A bigger price.
Mm-hmm.
Or, there are plenty of other teams. Mid-level France. Mid-level Italy. I think he would do well in Italy. Don't go to the championship. There are enough Aaronsons in the championship, or have been recently. But, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's disappointing not to see. There's one guy that I thought had earned his way clearly onto this roster over the MLS guys that were picked, and that'd be Paxton Aronson.
Okay.
Somebody says he ain't healthy. Who's not healthy? TT says he ain't healthy.
Gio? Because he's talking about Gio. If Gio had Malik's season, he would be a god. He ain't healthy. Yeah.
I think Gio is healthy.
Malik. He's referring to Gio.
He seems pretty healthy right now. No reports of any injuries.
Derek, what's Poch doing here?
Taking a shit. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously in a workout here.
I'm sure it's some kind of a squat machine. Yes.
Could he wear bigger shorts, please?
I think that's just his. I think he's just wearing a shirt, and that's his shirt pulled down.
Yeah, right. His ball sack's right underneath there. Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's great that you brought that up because I said this is how you get big balls. Coach 2025, probably.
Yeah. I don't know. He's certainly not getting ready to visit Nathaniel Brown.
I mean, it's got to be a squat machine. That's got to offer some kind of resistance down here.
It's a squat machine.
No weight squat machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rubber band one.
I just, I agree with your point. Maybe, mid-thigh shorts, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
He spent too much time in Europe. So.
They do this in Europe? Tiny shorts, shorts?
Tiny shorts, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
It helps vertical leap. That's something he needs to focus on right now, huh?
Yeah, jump as high as you can. Yeah, all right. Pochettino can't jump. Well, I hear he can. All right. But, Well, we'll get to that. I'll skip it for now.
All right.
Big balls.
So jumping into a topic we kind of alluded to, and we'll go into more depth and everything here, but I made the comment, Pulisic's too tired and injured to play for this summer, but he'll partake in a meaningless friendly that didn't mean anything or didn't do anything for AC Milan.
Meaningless game.
I know that people have brought up the fact of where the teams are placed and how much money they make compared to if they were to get the place or two below. Obviously, I know you want to be the higher up. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't accounting for this, quite frankly, but it makes
right. I know. Yeah, I get it. That's fair that you didn't think of that.
But if and I'm not saying that he should be missing the match because he's tired, but if he has a chronic injury that he's getting by with taking injections, I mean, it says a lot that AC Milan's like, hey, I don't care about your health. I'd rather we get this win and then we'll deal with that later. You just skip out on the Nations League or national team games.
Well, they also now have the guarantee that Pulisic's not going anywhere for this international window.
There we go.
So why not play him?
He's
got plenty of time to recover after the season is over. Now, he's not going anywhere. Whereas I think there could have been a compromise here. You put him on the team. He plays 60 minutes against Turkey and 60 minutes in the friendlies. And then the group stage of Gold Cup, he doesn't play at all, hardly. Maybe not at all.
I would pick just one of the friendlies. One of the friendlies he starts, plays 60 minutes, sits the bench, and then maybe you bring him in against Saudi Arabia. Although if that's our third match, maybe we don't even need that match.
We don't need him. We just play him in the semis.
You camp his ass and you bring him in the knockout stage. Absolutely.
Yep.
You don't have to play him every match. And this has been my biggest gripe with the U.S. men's national team, quite frankly. Just playing him all the time. And you know what? Bring him into camps all the time. Sure, I understand. But manage his minutes. Start somebody else, because now we have to sit here and think about who we're going to start over Pulisic because he's too tired and possibly injured to play in this Gold Cup.
Yeah.
And this isn't the first. I mean, it's not like we were talking about this beforehand, but I don't think he's ever played in the Gold Cup before. So it's not the fact that he's missing the Gold Cup. Who the fuck cares about that?
It's the toughest part about it is all the proclamations you've made about how much you care about this team. If he hadn't said that, maybe people wouldn't be up his ass as much. Also, he is the best player in our team.
Yeah.
And when the best player decides he's not showing up, and then you could say the same thing about Jedi, people are going to call you out.
I'm not doubting his commitment to the national team, quite frankly. He's laid a lot out there, and he's played a lot of minutes, especially for the national team. And the type of player he is, playing a lot of the hero ball, drawing a lot of the fouls, it can wear and tear down on you.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Coming out, it would have been better, and we're going to get into this in a second, but it would have been better if they just simply said that Pulisic's missing this camp due to personal or injury or whatever. But then again, you couldn't say injury because he was going to play for AC Milan, right?
Yeah. So you couldn't say that. And then I just got done watching episode 4, the new one that's out. Season 1, episode 4, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's, on the golf cart as he is through most of the whole show.
And look, he's not even walking places or walking golf. He's taking a golf cart everywhere, right? So, I mean, how is he that tired?
And he's talking to whoever's interviewing him. I guess it's his good buddy who's interviewing him on the golf cart. And he's saying, there's one thing I don't have that a lot of the great players have. And it's something I need to fix. Yeah. And it's that I don't have the kind of unwavering confidence that some of the great players have. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. The chutzpah. He does not have the chutzpah. That's been pretty obvious to most of us, right? But that he is a humble person. So humble. He's a super sweetie. He's a super nice guy. But then so is McKennie. He's a super nice guy. So is Weah. Super nice. We got a lot of fucking super nice guys on our team.
So is Adams. I mean, he'll go in on a tackle and start some kerfuffles. But he's still a very super nice guy.
He's super nice, but he has a temper.
Oh, sure. He gets in there. He gets in there.
He'll talk shit to you too. He's one of the biggest shit talkers as I understand it, on the team. When it comes to the opponents.
Says, he says would have been better if U.S. Soccer hadn't thrown him under the bus.
Yeah,
we talked about that on Thursday. You brought that up.
Yeah, they did throw him under the bus.
I've got a
one nuts
from. I think it was Herc on Tax Show mentioned this too. But we'll pull that up here shortly.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. men's national team only posted this or pulled this from Football Americas. So another Herc segment here, I guess.
Oh, Herc,
multiple players.
Herc also trashed the shit out of Poch too.
Yeah, he did. I've got that pulled up somewhere, I believe.
Okay, good. I wouldn't watch that again.
Let's pull it up here real quick. So then let's pull it up here. The quote in hand that Herc's referring to, if this ever pulls up.
There we go.
Let's try it again. Whoop. Screw you, X.
Refresh.
I was thinking about it. We'll come back to that in just a second.
Okay.
So they posted this on Football Americas.
Yeah.
Talking about just a handful of players here with Pulisic. And there are others.
And they played more minutes.
I looked at Bellingham's time too. So it's interesting though, because the talking point with Pulisic is last 2 years. He's been playing nonstop for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows just 1 year. I imagine if you extrapolate it out to 2 years, it'd probably be very similar to what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
You know, you have other major players who play a shit ton of fucking minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been playing nonstop. I mean, yeah, that's what all the big stars do.
Yeah. And they're still going. Okay, maybe they don't have hip issues. I don't know. I guess that's it.
All right.
That's the thing.
So here's what Poch said. If you arrive to the camp and you want to spend a nice time, play golf, go to dinner, visit family, visit a friend, that is the culture we want for this to create. No.
Mm-hmm.
So then Herc followed that up with saying, couldn't agree more. Does that include YouTube charity matches?
Rosario Central game days?
Visiting Euro-based players and recruiting dual nats, asking for a friend.
Yep.
So
he said it on the show too. So
yeah,
Football Americas. So yeah, I mean he's got a good point. It's not like Pochettino's been setting the example, right? If you're going to be all business, then you got to do all business. When you're not coaching the team, you need to be out recruiting. You need to be out talking to Dest, having lunch with Dest, getting to know our players personally. The fact that Dest is going to meet Poch for the first time in camp here is absurd. It's absurd. Especially when the kid's been fighting his ass off to get healthy again. Go visit him. Give him some encouragement. Hey, we're really looking forward to you. I wanted to pay you a visit and let you know I care.
Did you see this tweet from Winalda to Herc? Herc said something along the lines of, this is going to be like a second or third U.S. men's national team, like a B or C squad. And then Winalda said, then you would have been good enough to make this squad. So I'm paraphrasing, of course.
It's really weird when, with our sort of coalition of guys, Tact, Pete, us, both those guys will go on the shows here and there with Pete and Tact, etc. But they won't.
On, but still,
they won't. We haven't yet have her on. I don't think it's a thing that we've tried much, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they won't go on a show together. Those two guys do not like each other at all. And I will not go into the off-air comments when we had Eric on about her, but
there are a couple of years of back and forth that just have not settled. Thus has not settled.
Right. And it also stems from who's Herc's buddy again? Seb's conflict with Winalda as well, where Seb called out Eric Winalda during the last World Cup for being a attention seeker.
With GeoGate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I recall.
And I don't think that Eric was trying to get attention. I just don't think Eric could help himself when he thinks he knows the story and he wants to get it out there. He just can't help himself and say, well, if I did that, will that compromise somebody? Will it compromise my relationship with, Raina's dad? Or am I saying too much too early? Or should I let the Rainas handle this on their own? And I think that Eric's instinct is to always go full bore 100%. At all times, talking without necessarily going over what could be the repercussions of what you're saying, right? I mean, we do that here. I do on occasion. So I understand that way of thinking. I think he's being a little more careful, but those guys just need to make up. I mean, this is getting ridiculous.
I don't mind a bit of drama back and forth with them. It's fine. They can continue not liking each other. Makes for some interesting tweets from time to time because it always seems like it comes out of the blue, out of nowhere. All of a sudden, one will chime in like, "Jesus Christ, what the fuck?"
Yeah. Now, I will say, I miss Seb on Football Americas. I really do miss Seb. I don't know why he was removed and sent other places. Not that I don't like the gal who replaced him. She's fine. She's doing a good job. But it was that sort of conflict, that sort of edgy conflict that Seb and Herc always had on the show where they're always arguing about shit. I miss that.
that. The chemistry and banter. It's all there. Yeah.
Right.
Nah, you bust up a show like that, so it's not as nearly as good.
Yeah, I don't know what Seb's doing right now, but I thought
he's a part of ESPN and stuff like that. He does other shows with them.
Does he do the
he's
Spanish?
on there with like Keller and all them. He shows up.
Yeah, I mean he fills in on occasion there. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's got an actual show like they had with Football Americas, but he seems to be pulled in and is a part of various analysis groups within ESPN.
And Seb's the kind of guy I imagine that we bring on the show and him and I get in a big argument. Yeah, that's what I imagine. But we mostly agree on a lot of things too, so there's that.
Well, we can question why they never pushed back against Nelson Rodriguez on.
They never replied to me on that, did they? All right, for the 247 of you here, it's almost 250. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, and thank you for showing up on a holiday. We appreciate it. We were kind of wondering, are we going to do this show? I mean, anybody going to be watching tonight? I mean, it's a holiday.
Yeah, all my cookouts and hangouts and everything like that happened on Saturday and Sunday. So today I was going to take my son to the fields to give him some practice before the tournament season.
Yeah,
and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
Legit it.
Yep.
All
right.
So I got Winalda talking here. He's the hey, let Pulisic breathe. He's on the side of Pulisic as far as Pulisic needs to have rest. Give him a break. Let him rest. And he starts off by talking about how the Twitters and the social medias are out there losing their mind because he's missing out on the Gold Cup. I'm like, well, most people aren't concerned about the Gold Cup. We talked about this before. It was the fact that we're a handful of windows away from the World Cup. Our team's kind of in shambles right now. We need some form of level of consistency. And from Poch's standpoint, this is going to be the one window where he's going to have multiple weeks of really training with the team.
Yeah.
Working with them. Not that I'd say Pulisic necessarily needs that extra work. Maybe it's the rest of the team, and maybe Pulisic, could in fact take the break and be perfectly fine, which I think he would be. And if he is in fact injured, and I don't doubt that by any means, then yes, I mean I don't mind him missing the Gold Cup. Again, he hasn't played in the Gold Cup before.
All right,
I don't mind him missing this window and resting and recovering and be ready for the World Cup itself.
Look at Jackie D's comments. That's right on the mark. No one gives a shit about the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
All right. It's not the same tournament it used to be. What we care about is that we suck.
Yeah.
We suck. So if he can be there, that's a bonus. He's the leader.
That was the conversation
team.
I had on Twitter back when this was first announced. This guy was like, "Why are we even worried about the Gold Cup?" I'm like, "It's not about the Gold Cup. It's about establishing morale and consistency and getting back up to a winning ways. Winning a trophy, even if it's a Gold Cup at this point, would be beneficial for both fans and players at this point."
Is winning the Gold Cup proof we don't suck? No, it isn't, Fumar. That's not the point. I think maybe you are saying what the point is, which is whether we win the Gold Cup or not is irregardless. It's not important. It's whether this team starts to look like a team and play like one.
And this was a talking point we've always made over the years. You know, Berhalter took in his first Gold Cup. He took in a squad, came out with victory. What was his first one? I don't know, whatever the one where he he took Hoppy and so forth and company, and they ended up winning the Gold Cup. That's great that they won the Gold Cup, but that's some ugly fucking matches. And we got the results. Congratulations. But I didn't have any more confidence leading that Gold Cup by the way we played. If we go and we play very well, but we just happen to not win the World Cup, I would feel more confident.
Gold
Cup.
Cup.
Gold Cup. But we're playing better at that point. It's not necessarily about the wins, and I would love to win the Gold Cup just because I like to win. But if we don't win, but we're still playing well, that's all that really matters to me as we enter the year for the World Cup.
So the chemistry's all fucked up right now, and that's why I want him there, even if he plays minimal minutes. It's all my point.
Yeah.
Just play him minimal minutes. Have a clock on him, how many minutes he can play during the tournament. We've done it with other players.
Yeah, the good old days.
But Hoppy, by the way, Hoppy just played. He came in for 8 minutes. There you go. For Sonderjiski, if you're wondering where he plays.
I still don't know. You mentioned the team, and I still don't know where he plays.
Scandinavia.
Oh, man. I guess keep making those bucks, I guess.
He had been injured, to be fair. He had been injured.
Yeah.
But he is alive.
I don't know if that's, to be fair, that's an excuse you can make because he didn't get playing time, but he wasn't getting playing time prior to the injury.
No, not really.
So.
Got a couple. Is Sonderjiski in Denmark? I think it is.
That's what Jackie's asking.
You can look it up. It's SONDER JYSKE.
All right. Well, here's Eric talking about Pulisic.
We've always criticized Christian Pulisic. I mean, not we, you, the same people that's, he's always hurt. He's always hurt. He can't stay fit. Now, all his days at Chelsea, he won the Champions League at Chelsea, and that wasn't good enough for you. I get the criticisms, and some of those commentators should probably think about doing something else with their life because they were so biased against.
So I think most people are pointing out the injury history that Pulisic had and saying that he needs to get consistent minutes and remain healthy. That's not a criticism in this situation. I mean, I guess his point is saying that, well, he's coming out saying, or him and his team are coming out saying that he's injured. And the people who are saying, oh, you got to play through it are the same people that are criticizing him for being injured all the time.
It's true.
Yeah. Again, I think there's nuance behind it, and it's not black and white, quite frankly.
Hoppy does not play in the Slovenian leagues as 27. Quit putting that out there. It's in, believe Sonderjiski's in Denmark. Jackie D says yes, it is. Your dog's going bad shit.
You say potato. Yeah, I don't know why he's barking so much right now.
Man, what do your kids need to tell him to shut the fuck up?
Kids should definitely be asleep at this point. It's 9:30.
Oh.
They're not in summer. They're not in summer yet.
Jesus. I've never heard him do this before.
He's been going through some spells, man. We took him out to the baseball diamonds at my son's school and let him run around for like 30 minutes. And he came home because he was being a right dick recently. And I'm like, I understand you're bored. You're bored as shit. Kids aren't letting you out. I'm only home for a couple hours at most night.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm busy doing other things at the time. So we went and worked him out and everything. He was great the rest of the day, and then right around 6 o'clock, he started turning into a dick again, just wanting to play, nipping. But the problem is he's a pit bull, man. He's got big fucking teeth, and he's got a giant jaw that knocks down. And while I can certainly play with him and take control of shit, my kids can't. So,
what is this about Hoppy being, by the way, in the Slovenian league? I agree with S27. Hoppy is in the Slovenian league. All right, he can be wherever you want him to be then, because it doesn't matter. All right, go ahead. You're going to play the rest of this?
He's like, you sure he's not in the Slovenia league?
He plays for Saturjiski. Yes. Come on, people. It's a weird fuck around.
All right, so we made in the past couple shows or whatever, I've kind of made a comment about how some of the big star players that are playing for these big clubs, that it seems like maybe to some extent that they are putting their and somebody else brought this up too, but for the first time they're putting their club over country. The club you're going to be making the big bucks, country, you go and you play. It used to be reversed where like the country was like the highest point. You're playing in Houston or maybe a small club in a second division, wherever they come back and you have this national pride because you're playing against the international teams, you're playing against all these great guys. But now it's like whether or not these players are looking at the national team with those, glossy eyes like we used to in the past.
Can we be really specific, though, about the players that have said this? Pulisic, okay. Jedi, who plans to have surgery as soon as the season is over. And who's the other person? Musa. And Musa was personal, and apparently he didn't feel like sharing it, that personal reason, with Poch, which Poch said was fine. Sometimes they want to share, sometimes they don't. No biggie. So those are the only three players I know of that said no to the call-up. Jedi going to go get surgery. Pulisic has a hip thing, and Musa has a personal issue.
Sure.
Let's hope it's not herpes.
Okay.
So, I just think there are people out there who seem to think they're like 7, 8, 9 guys that said they didn't want to play. It's just not true.
The comment I was kind of building up towards was more along the lines of just watching week in, week out players who were busting their butts and playing well at the club level, and then they kind of come to the national team, and it's just sort of haphazard. You don't know which Weston you're going to get each match, each window. Pulisic goes from playing a very good match to playing hero ball and trying to do too much. I don't know. It's people have been questioning. People have been questioning about the heart, whether or not they have the desire to play for the national team. So that's kind of what this is leading into.
Okay.
So,
kind of commitment that he has shown to the people who actually pay him a lot of money. Keep that in mind. Federation is what it is. You play for your country. It's an honor. I get it. And it's our duty. That's always the word that we like to use. It's our duty to play for our country. And when we're dealing with a scenario like Christian Pulisic and we have a year to start thinking about a World Cup, please just have some real logic here and understand that his mental and physical well-being right now is probably more important than it has ever been.
So the beginning part of that quote talked about how the commitment level is there for the people who pay them big bucks, which is the club level, which I understand.
Yeah.
But this is one of those scenarios where we're finally at a point now where we have some players who are making big bucks at their club teams that may not necessarily look at the national team like, I've got a duty to play, but whether or not everything's left on the pitch is here or there. We'll see,
Yeah, no. I mean, I want them to be all there mentally and physically, but it's a fucking shame is all I'm saying. And I'm not upset at him. I'm not throwing shit at the fucking TV or wherever watching his show. I'm just very disappointed. And I think that's about where it's going to have to stop. Somebody said Hoppy played 13 minutes. I believe he played 8 minutes of real game and 5 minutes of extra time. There you go.
Yeah, it's and this is why I was saying player management with Pulisic would have been the best thing to do. We don't necessarily need him in every window, especially when they're friendlies. I understand why we keep calling him in. There's always going to be a population of the fan base. Why isn't Pulisic being called in? Why isn't Pulisic being called in? You know, sometimes it's okay to get a break, and sometimes it's good for us to find an alternative in case the worst were to come about. Nothing worse than relying on a player like Pulisic, and then the worst happens and he gets injured, and then we're left scrambling to find a replacement that can work with the team.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want him to be injured for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And we want him to be playing at Milan next season leading into the World Cup. Sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. So it doesn't make it any less disappointing that he's not going to be there. It is a missed opportunity. But, you know, if I had to weigh my concerns on Pulisic versus Poch, my concerns with Poch are way greater. Way greater. If you're out there saying, well, these MLS players are just as good as Sargent, or these MLS players are just as good as Tessman, or they're on the same level as guys that have taken this next step and gone over and proved that they can handle it and are challenging themselves. But maybe he's right. Maybe they're all the same. I don't know.
Do you think to some extent that's just lip service in the sense that you don't want to come out and say, we're calling out some MLS players. They're like a third of the quality of what we normally bring in, but we figured we'd give them a look anyways.
Well, no.
I mean, you kind of, even if you don't necessarily believe it, you want to come out and say, hey, these are some very talented kids we're pulling in here. I think they're really going to challenge our named players moving forward. We'll see if they can take advantage of their opportunities, that type of stuff.
I mean, maybe he looks at Busio and goes, Busio played on the worst team in Italy. That can't be much better in MLS. Aiden Morris plays in championship. I don't really rate the championship. You know, Tanner Tessman, he plays for Leon. No big deal. Who cares? He was just playing in Serie B a season ago. Can't be that great. By the way, I saw most of these guys already, and I wasn't that impressed. And so I'm going to go try some other guys that I've been watching on Apple TV. Not in person, but Apple TV. And
no. He's traveled around the MLS. He's watched a couple games.
I don't think he's been to Vancouver yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, dude. I just feel like things are messier than they've ever been. And I thought we were going to get this shit like solidified, not have more mess. Like this seems more messy than needed. I mean, if there were like 6-7 MLS players, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Luna, I could name a few I'd be totally cool with. But 16 of a 27-man roster? Holy Jesus.
Well, 3 of those 16 were goalkeepers, but...
And one of them's an ex-Fulham player, Green.
Yeah. But, I mean, you know what? You bring up a point as far as the MLS players, and I think Winall is just going to end this segment with the right approach we should be taking with this Gold Cup.
It's your team.
Okay.
Stop going on social media and attacking this young man in this decision that is obviously the best decision that he could possibly make at this juncture, at this moment in time, for the national team's future. Got it? Great. Outside of telling you to shut the fuck up, that's a nice way of telling you, shut the fuck up.
Ooh. Well,
I think there's a segment, sins or two just before that, where he talks about how, that regardless of if it's MLS players taking the field or it's your players, they're your team, just support the team.
Right. Okay. Well, I do not like people going on to Christian Pulisic's socials and attacking him. I think that's out of hand, and I would never do anything like that.
I mean,
now
feel free to
publicly
criticize and everything. That's fine. But
publicly, and am I allowed to say I'm kind of disappointed he's not going to be there? Yeah, I mean that's totally fine. I'm disappointed. I understand it, like I get it, but I'm not happy about it. It's not optimum, but we don't live in a perfect world, I guess. And he knows his body better than everybody else, and his mind, I suppose. And it just would.
If he's got an injury where he's getting shots weekly, just continue at the club level, I'm more than happy that he's missing out on the Gold Cup.
It would be nice if they put out a report of what his injuries are.
Well,
and so here's what he's suffering from. Here are the shots he's getting every week just so he can play.
Yeah.
And after, if he was able to take these 3 weeks, this next month off, which is what he's going to do, he's going to work on the following things to make his hip better. Okay, maybe I'm asking for too much info. I mean, that's like a paragraph. A paragraph's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a book on all his injuries. I don't need to know all the fucking details. I'd just like to know, what is it and what kind of shots are you taking? And I mean, what is the prognosis going forward? Is this something that's going to get better, or are we talking about what's his face here, who's going to have hip injuries from now until the end of time?
Yeah.
Iceland
Bacon?
guy.
Bacon?
Who? Bacon. Yeah. I mean,
Derek,
if
you want a
it's,
social security number 2?
I don't. I want a list of all the girls he slept with. Just to prove my earlier points. I just hope it's not something that happened to Bacon where it just got worse and worse, and we don't want that. So if that's what he's got, something like that, where the spongy tissue between the bones in his hip aren't working correctly, so then they're injecting collagen or whatever in there, so there's some cushion between bone and bone in the hip. Yeah, that's a concern. So, we'll see. But again, I think as far as you can take this really as a fan is disappointment. That's it. It's just disappointing. All right. For the 273 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your stepsister. All right.
Here's her talking about why it wasn't surprising that Pulisic was on. We kind of talked about this already a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
And why did Pulisic not surprise you, though? That's what I'm wondering.
Because I've been hearing for quite some time that he's been dealing with something, a hip flexor.
Or flexor.
In the hip region. And word is he asked for time off to Milan. And Milan, who is negotiating his contract, by the time this airs, I don't know if that's going to be different, if there's going to be any final news on that, but was negotiating his contract. And we're now on the third coach with Sergio Conceição on the same project. And we're fighting in the Coppa Italia, and we're fighting for Champions League positions at that time. This was going months ago. Had said, no, sorry, we can't afford to let you rest right now. We can't afford.
Pause there just a sec, so that way,
it's true.
Come and, chime in on this, but
no, I mean that makes sense because we remember when Conceição was talking about Pulisic was day to day and going through something.
It's all adding up, yes.
It's starting to come together now. Hip flexors, yeah, that's not fun. So
I mean, and that goes back to Eric's point with the club and then the company that's paying Pulisic's salary. And if Pulisic comes and says, "Hey, can I get some time off?" and AC Milan's going, "No, we can't afford to have you take time off. Take time off during the summer."
Yeah. John says Pulisic has a hip like a 10-year-old German Shepherd. John, the interesting fact about that is we, in our breeding, did that to German Shepherds. Go look at photos of German Shepherds today, and then go look at a photo of a German Shepherd 80 years ago, and you will be shocked. We did that to German Shepherds. They did not have that. They did not have a history of hip issues until what we did to them in the breeding process.
It was like go look at the American Bulldog in the early 1900s compared to the Bulldogs now.
Yep.
And they used to have snouts.
Yes.
But now they're all like squished up.
Smashed. Because we're fucking idiots. Humans are fucking idiots. And the so-called dog experts did that to the dogs. There's so many dogs now that are all fucked up because we decided, oh, we really like that trait. So let's get breeding that into the trait. And then German Shepherds' asses now are like a foot lower than their shoulders. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing? Idiots. But in Germany, dogs, German Shepherds don't look like that. They didn't do that to German Shepherds. We did here in America.
That's right.
We're fucking morons. All right.
Let me finish this last quote here, and then we'll talk about this as a whole. But
to fix this chronic, and I'm doing air quotes right now, issue that you have, you've got to battle through it. And he did. But it's also why we saw an inconsistent Christian Pulisic. We saw a Christian Pulisic that sometimes would play, sometimes would not. We saw a Christian Pulisic sometimes look like he was fresh, sometimes would not. So he had no control there. Well, theoretically, where is Christian Pulisic going to have the most control in his footballing world? It's going to be the U.S. men's national team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, he what it sounds like is he approached AC Milan, said, hey, I'd like to take some time off so I can recover from this. AC Milan's going, sorry, bro, can't do it. And then Pulisic's reasoning it out, going, well, I mean, I guess I could just tell the U.S. men's national team I haven't actually played in a Gold Cup before, so this won't be anything new. I'll just say, tell them, hey, I'm worn out, I'm beaten up, I need to recover. And,
but then he didn't tell that to the U.S. men's national team, or if he did, they selectively left it out of their comments.
And
threw his ass under the bus.
That takes us to the next quote I had pulled up, and I kind of led into that way as well. So here's chiming in now.
Which you said that Pulisic might be dealing with a hip injury or whatever it is. It hasn't been officially reported. We'll make that clear, but there's rumors about that. But that's not what Matt Crocker said.
Yeah, and this is important. This is something that immediately came across my radar is it's not Christian Pulisic's camp that's saying this. It's U.S. Soccer, it's Matt Crocker, it's Mauricio Pochettino that are making it known this is his decision, Christian Pulisic's decision. I've said it many times. This is a very unlikable team. Probably the most unlikable national team that I can recall. You'd have to go back to the end of the Bruce Arena days to really find such an unlikable team. And even then, not even anywhere close to what we have going on right now. They've got an issue. They're not liked in their own country. They don't draw well. U.S. soccer, since the failed World Cup, has taken a lot of heat. You had one person at the helm for so long. People demanded change. Here comes change. And it looks like on the men's side, this program is regressing. So,
So,
at least at the beginning of that quote really made it sound, or the quote that Herc was bringing up there, that text started, is that he needs to take a break because he's tired, was the official U.S. soccer standpoint.
Yes. And we agree he's tired.
Well, I mean, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, if this is known enough, and I'm sure Pulisic and his team mentioned it to U.S. Soccer, hey guys, I'm kind of beat up. I'm taking injections just to get by week in, week out. And it was reported. I mean, hell, like you said, you heard about it. That, the coach is like every week it's a toss up whether or not he's going to be ready to play. He missed some matches. He played some matches, came off the bench in some. But why would U.S. Soccer release just he's tired, he's played a lot of minutes, he needs a break? Why not come out and say, hey, he's got an injury and we're letting him recover?
I mean, there are two things that could be happening here. They didn't tell U.S. Soccer that, or U.S. Soccer felt kind of pissed off about him being able to play for Milan, but not also giving the same commitment to his country as we lead into a World Cup about a year from now.
Yeah.
So whatever's going, or the third is incompetence. Right? And the fourth option is They want to throw him under the bus so they didn't look bad. They'd rather him take the brunt of the criticism than them. Even though they said something that made them liable for criticism because they're like, yeah, he told us he was tired. So we said, yeah, we agree you're tired. Take a break. I mean, that doesn't make them look that great. All right. But
maybe they're painting for the cautionary aspect of it. Like, he's played a lot of minutes. He's worn out. We want him fresh and healthy when the World Cup comes around. So we're going to give him this break.
Yeah. Last thought on German Shepherds before we move on. It wasn't natural selection or natural evolution that changed the German Shepherd. It was selective breeding. That means humans got involved. And if you want to call that natural or nature, fine, because we were part of nature, I suppose. But we did that to the German Shepherd here in the United States. We lowered their back hips, and now they all have fucked up hips.
Well, I mean, that when they stand there for competitions and they have that curvature of their neck right into their back, and it looks more as if you carved out a statue of it.
Yeah.
That's what they're breeding for. They want that very specific trait, but they're not taking into consideration that specific trait fucks up
their hips. Yeah, absolutely fucks them up. So yeah, might win you a few trophies for a few years, but by the time they turn 7 or 8, their hips are fucked. So anyhow,
well, then once they start winning trophies, then all the breeders around the country are like, "Oh, I want my bitch to breed with this stud over here," and all of a sudden that genetic is getting passed around like it's candy.
It's not like horse racing. Did you know in the Kentucky Derby that every single one of those horses came from Secretariat genes, from his sperm? From I can't remember what year Secretariat won the Triple Crown, but it was a long time ago. But all of those horses are related to Secretariat because they took his sperm and they distributed it. People for millions of dollars bought his sperm to, put in other horses to make baby Secretariats. And now we're like 4 generations into that, or 6 or 8. I can't remember what somebody said. But that's different. That's making the horse better and more elite and more physical and more. What we did, that's not based on looks. That's based on performance. What we're doing to dogs is based on looks. You don't do shit to another species because, I like the way this looks. No, man. They are the way they are because of hundreds of years of natural evolution. And now you're getting involved in fucking it up.
1973, by the way.
That's a long time. I was 2 years old when Secretariat won that. All right. Thank you for the people letting us know that. German Shepherd bitches have high asses. They used to.
I was going to say, a friend of mine who I haven't talked to in a while, actually, last I heard, he had purchased some Vizsla pups, 1 male, 1 female.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a Hungarian hound, and smaller hound type of thing, but they use them to get foul and shit like that.
Yeah.
And he had the number 1 ranked female and number 3 ranked male.
Mm.
And his overall arching plan was to breed the shit and pimp out the male, if you will.
Yeah.
So
yep. Yeah.
Same concept, but at least there for him, that was all for performance, like you're saying with the horse. So
yeah, if it's for performance, one thing. If it's for looks, then you're fucking with shit. Yeah. Just because you want the bulldog to have as smashed a face as possible. Well, now it can't breathe. Okay. And now bulldogs can't give natural birth either. Well, most of them can't. They have to have C-section. I don't think they call it that. With a dog, but all right. Training camp roster. Well, Schulte's gone.
Maybe
on an injury.
So might Stefan though too. Who knows?
Yeah. We're picking a roster, huh?
Ignoring injuries, because we don't know how long serious the injuries are.
Mm.
So we got to go based off the roster until we hear otherwise.
Yeah, defenders. You gonna scroll?
Well, I figured we'd start with the goalkeeper first.
Oh, all right, and then are we? Okay, are we?
I got the thing pulled up, and I'll pull it up later to show, but I can't do both at the same time.
Well, it's gonna be Stefan, I think, in the first game. I mean, that's Stefan Turner.
Yeah, I agree. I think because based off of what Poch said, that Turner's still technically their number one, but it's kind of up in the air, So I think he's going to start with Turner, and then if Turner doesn't perform in that first match, all hell's going to break loose. If Stefan's healthy, I think Stefan's going to get the look.
Again, we're trying to predict what Poch is going to do, not what we would do. Because quite frankly, I think I'd start Stefan at this point.
I don't even know if I'd have Turner on the roster, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we need people who are playing week in, week out, even if it's similar compared to training in EPL,
Mm-hmm.
So, we need a goalkeeper. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Turner first match, but again, not necessarily what I would have done.
And then probably Stefan second match, but
yeah, I think Stefan probably will get the second match regardless of how well Turner does, because I think Poch is going to want to have that competition. And he's going to want to see what Stefan can do.
Yep,
and he may even flip flop it. Quite frankly, he may give Stefan the first match and then have Turner the second match.
He could.
So
he could. Defenders. Odessa starting.
Big question though. What side?
Right. Arson will go left.
Yeah.
Yep. In the middle, probably Mackenzie Richards. That's my guess. If we go and play there with a 4-2-3-1, which we could, based on who he's picked.
That's what I'm going with right now. I mean, who knows what it'll be in the end.
Yeah.
But I'm going with the 4-2-3-1.
Are we going to create this on a?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. We're gonna go through the list. I'm going to pull it up at the very end.
Okay. All right. Midfielder starters. Well, the two in front of the back four, they're going to be Tyler Adams and Johnny Cardoso.
Yeah.
So they'll be the two holding. With Cardoso more carte blanche to be box to box. And then the three more attacking midfielders. I'm going to go with Tillman at CAM. And just let me know if you disagree. And then I'm going to take Luna and put him out left. No, right. No.
It depends on who you put on the other side. Who's your other winger?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Because
here's what I'm going to say. I think Luna's going to start. Whether he starts at the 10 or over Tillman, and you have Haji Wright and somebody like Brendan Aronson offering the width and the speed, or if you're going to have somebody like Luna and Tillman, and then you have Haji Wright on the left, who's going to be acting kind of like a second striker. Who knows?
It's very possible. Yeah.
But I think Luna is going to start. I think it's pretty apparent, based on his performance at Nations League and the fact that Poch likes his big balls.
I think Luna can start out right. I don't think he has to be out left because you'll start right out left. So why not start Luna out right and put Tillman in the middle as your CAM?
And quite frankly, like I said, with Haji playing, he's probably going to be playing more of a second striker more so than anything. Mm-hmm. I suspect Luna and Tillman are basically going to run the middle as almost like a dual 10.
Yeah, I'd say that's believable.
And you have Cardoso and Adams playing more. Adams not a box-to-box by any means, but I guess you could have Cardoso playing that box-to-box and Adams playing right behind the center backs, as always.
And then up top, you got Balgan.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, the only alternative I could possibly see is Luna getting the keys at 10, and then you bring in another speedy winger like Brendan Aronson.
I'd rather play Tillman as a winger than Aronson. He gives you more in the attack. Yeah. So if you want to flip flop Luna and Tillman, I'm fine with that.
No, Tillman has played out wide, hasn't he, for PSV before?
Yeah, he has. So, he'd be fine there. You could even flip-flop Haji and Luna, but I think you're losing the best part of Haji, which is him cutting in at this right foot and doing damage.
But like I said, I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to have kind of like this to an extent.
Could.
I think Haji's going to be camping up here with Balogun, making his runs.
And
Luna's just going to pinch in.
And the reason that's going to happen is because Des is going to be way the fuck up the field.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. And
Arson's going to kind of do it too.
Yeah, but not as much probably. So he can get back and help. And then Cardoso will have a little carte blanche to move up behind Tillman and Luna, but Adam's going to sit behind right in front of those back two.
They're going to camp out a little wider, I think.
Yep.
Like that. This is sort of playing it along, but I do think it's going to be listed as a 4-2-3-1.
I do too.
Wes says this would be a 4-2-2-2. Let's go for that empty bucket.
I mean, listen, I just think that would be great to see. And it might play that way too. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But it won't be a traditional 4-2-3-1. I mean, it'll have a lot of interchanging parts, hopefully. What did Edgar do?
Edgar's post. And this is I think this is pretty much what we, to an extent, I guess.
Except for Freeman, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I wouldn't either.
Be opposed to this. Give him a shot.
But I think I like Des outright better.
I mean, that's just all it is instead of Arson, we got we have turn two, never mind. Besides Arson, we have Freeman, which pushes Des out left. And Des played a number of games. I mean, he played a lot. He played a lot out left for PSV.
Sure.
Most of them, right?
Yep.
Colin says Berhalter will start. I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But who's going to come out? I mean, you're going to have to take Adams or Cardoso. I mean, it'd be Cardoso because Berhalter's not a box. But then again, you could have two box to box.
I think Berhalter will play.
Yeah, he better. Why call him up? He's having a great fucking season.
God, and we say that, and yet he just scored, or was it an assist? He just assisted again this weekend. And Brian White scored, I think, 2 goals. Yeah. Brian White played his ass onto this team. There's no doubt about it.
Collins 11. He specifies it as my 11.
Oh, I'm way above your level. Of course, I'm way above your level part. That is so you, Colin. You didn't need to write that. You didn't need to put that, but okay.
He's got Haji Wright starting at striker. Destin, Aronson, and Luna.
I would not complain.
This is a different take, and it's kind of an interesting take, quite frankly.
I would not complain if Des, because we've talked about it on the show. Yeah. You could push Des up into the midfield and have him play as a winger. He'd be totally cool with it, and he'd be good at it too.
Yeah.
So
he has Stefan, Raymond Robinson, Jones out left. It's fine. Freeman out right. You got Berhalter and Adams, Aronson, Luna, Dest, and Wright.
Quite frankly, we don't know what the fuck is going to happen.
Yeah.
But this is not so out of left field or anything. I mean, except for Ream reports being that he's injured. So you have to replace him. I think leaving out Richards is a little I don't know. Seems to me the way he kind of closed out his season with Crystal Palace is sort of earned to at least prove himself as a starter, but I got no problem.
I know. I think Collins mentioned earlier. He said he watched Richards and just wasn't feeling it.
I wasn't through parts of the season.
Yeah,
but lately I'm feeling it again with Chris
we've said it before with Richards with the national team. I mean, he hasn't really blown anybody out of the water here. He's been some games he's been okay. Other games he's been a couple mistakes that caused issues. So it's like the only thing he's got going for him right now is that he's a consistent starter for an EPL side.
Right.
And he's young enough to where you can sit here and he needs more experience, but I mean. And, you have, who was it? Tony Miola last show talked about how Robinson's got his step or two back. And he had missed during that injury. So, I
haven't watched enough games. I've had not enough games to know that's true, but I trust Tony.
Yeah.
So if that's what he's seeing, I'll certainly take that into account. So, yeah, I think we're going to be, well, obviously we're trying to do Poch here. So I think we're going to be close. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible instead of McKenzie or Richards, maybe Ream gets the nod, but then again, I think he's going to go with a duo that's going to be in their prime, ready for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Now it could be Robinson, it could be Ream in there. Who knows?
We didn't mention CCV at the end of the Celtic season had a toe.
We talked about it last week.
Just want to repeat it. Big toe injury. Nothing too serious. That's why he wasn't called up, for what I understand. And then Trusty just didn't prove himself in the last camp. That's a footballing decision, as Poch said. Yep. Footballing decisions were Paxton Aronson, Tolkien, Sargent, Scally, Wiley, Yao, Aiden Morris, Busio, Tessman. Those were all footballing decisions.
He says Trusty's hurt.
He played the last 2 games of the season with Celtic. So he got hurt again.
But in fairness, Pulisic played the last match for AC Milan. He's hurt.
I did not hear the Trusty one at all. So
he's fatigued. He's fatigued.
Who? Trusty?
And I think Larry's making a joke here.
He might be, but Trusty for a long stretch of the season didn't play at all. It was Scales and CCV.
I think he's comparing Trusty to Pulisic here is what he's doing.
In fact, the only reason Trusty played the last 2 games of the season, because he was out as a starter for a long stretch, was because CCV's big toe was hurting. And then he came in and played next to Scales. So, I don't know. Tax Brazilian Ghost for $5. Any chance we actually score on set pieces this tournament since Pulley won't be taking them? No, I don't think so. Unless Jack McGlynn takes them or somebody who can actually pass the ball to take them.
Yeah, we need somebody who can also get connect with the ball on a set piece. I mean, when was the last time we really scored on a set piece? It's been a long fucking time. That USA Honduras game where Acosta had the set piece goal. I think that may have been it. The winner one in January, February, or whatever.
You could let Luna take them.
Good.
Could let Tillman take them. He takes them for PSV sometimes. So
could let Turner take him. He'd probably be better than Pulisic at this point.
Well, Pulisic's not bad for. That's a weird thing.
AC Milan, yeah, exactly right.
He's fine with AC Milan. He just couldn't kick a free kick to save his life for the U.S. men's national team.
Well, it's like, then you got to start. He can do it for AC Milan, and that's something that's not like, going out there and giving 100% on the pitch and into tackles and stuff like that. That you sit there and like, well, is he giving it his all? It's a set piece. At that point, you'd have to sit there and question whether or not it's a set piece coach, right? Coming out there and saying, hey, this is where I want you to place it. Yeah, but they have a guy right there at the 6. Yeah, I want you to place it just over top his head.
Yeah. Or whoever's supposed to be getting the ball at the near post is never there.
Yeah.
Never. Julian Vivas, $4.99. What do you guys think of Tack saying that Poch could get fired depending on how it goes in the Gold Cup and Friendlies now? Nope. And no, Herc mentioning GGG coming back, that's not happening either. It is much more likely that if there were such of an emergency, they'd probably go to somebody like Bob Bradley. But I don't see that happening either.
What's Hudson doing these days? Hudson?
Not much.
Yeah, you got shit canned from the Middle East pretty quickly.
Yep.
But he knows the team well.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that. I don't know. That's a lot of pressure for a guy that's only been an intern and failed as an MLS coach.
I mean, he bounced because he knew that there's no chance of him getting the permanent gig.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I got this offer over here in Dubai or whatever.
But BJ's got a job, Callahan, so he's not coming back.
Doing well.
Yes.
Nashville.
I mean, there's some guys you just kind of know are naturally good leaders and coaches. BJ Callahan's one of them. I don't think
Vermes is he's gone from Sporting at this point, right?
Yeah, but his positives are in the shitter right now. Bob Bradley would at least know how to handle a World Cup and know what that's all that's about. You can't bring Bruce back because he already took a dump on the last time he was brought back. Who else? You're not going to do Klinsmann, are you?
That'd be too much. I mean, the fact that you're already comping over $6 million for Poch, you're not going to be able to bring in somebody like Klinsmann without ponying up more and more cash.
Because it's an emergency guy that you want to know going into it has some sort of experience at a World Cup. Because when other teams succeed with last-minute coaches, it's usually somebody they hired who's already been to the World Cup before. Right? So for us, you want it to be somebody we know already who would slide in easily.
Landon Donovan's no longer coaching San Diego, so.
Oh, for Christ's sake. No, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
But, but to be really fair, Poch is going nowhere. Because whether or not he gets fired or not, they still have to pay him the $6 million. So you're just going to hold on to him and hope a miracle happens at the World Cup. Like, I don't know how bad the Gold Cup could possibly be. Look at our group. We're going to get out of that group. Now, if we don't, I mean, some amount of freakout's going to start happening. Yes. I think that's true. But I just don't see it happening. Could we wait to see if that happens? If that does happen, let me think about it again. But because I can't bring my brain to think about the fact that we're not going to get out of the group in the Gold Cup, my brain won't go there. It's too unfathomable. But let me think about it then. I'll have to write on that one. I know I'm already concerned about Poch. So if that happens, I'll want him out. But is it realistic to think that he will be out? I think Bob Bradley is currently unemployed. And so is Michael.
Cherundolo is on his way back to Germany.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. We got Matarazzo.
What's Perez up to?
Matarazzo's unemployed.
Yeah. Colin wants to know why Donovan can't do it. It's not that he couldn't do it. I don't know enough of him as a coach outside of some USL performances.
Well, Donovan would probably tell you himself that he's not ready for it.
He's been to a World Cup. He's got the knowledge. He's obviously a legend in the game for us. I mean, to an extent at this point, I mean, we just need somebody who can motivate our players and really get them going.
Yeah.
Put him in the right position to succeed and move forward.
Lamar says Bob's not working because he's shit. He wasn't always shit, though. He wasn't always shit.
And he was fine for Egypt. He was good for us, I thought. Mm-hmm. He was good at Chicago. Not so good at New York. Not so good in Swansea. But then again, he only had 3 months of time there. Where else was he?
I don't know. Do you think that LD would have crazy selections or lineups? I don't think so. No, listen. If it happened and I woke up one morning after the Gold Cup ended and we were horrible and we got grouped and they announced that Landon Donovan, keep in mind, people, Landon Donovan has a horrible relationship with U.S. Soccer. So the person that's going to get this job can't have a horrible history and relationship with U.S. Soccer. Otherwise, Landon Donovan would have also already been an assistant coach somewhere. But the fact is, not true. Donovan would be kissing MLS's ass the entire time as a coach. Okay, I don't know what he would do. All I'm saying, he doesn't have a very warm relationship with U.S. Soccer. So that kind of counts him out.
Yeah. Julian Vivas for $1.90 says that Scally done with the U.S. men's national team. Freeman is good. No.
I don't know. Scally seemed to be a favorite of Poch's, so I'm really kind of surprised he didn't make the team.
He also likes to go golfing with Gio, though.
He does like to golf.
So, I mean, this could be that whole talk of the culture, and we need to put a stop to that. But it also could be that Dest is coming back, and we're looking at changing how we address our back line now.
Sargent likes to golf too. I bet you he was one of the golfers. Sargent.
So is Pulisic and
Pulisic. Oh, Pulisic's the worst of all of them. McKenny, Adams, all of them like to golf. So I don't know who the golfers were in the last window, but they all got a good hammering from Poch this week. So last week.
If we went to a back four where our backs actually pushed up consistently, I could see Poch looking at Scally as a viable option for a center back role in the end, more so than a back.
Yep.
But even then, I don't know if that would happen. So I don't know. He may just continue to keep Scally out wide, and then when he's in, we play kind of with the 3-back line at times, and then on defense we play 4-back. I guess it's going to depend on what Poch wants to do, but no, he's a week in, week out contributor to a mid-table Bundesliga team. He should not be done with the U.S. men's national team. He may not fit the current system, and maybe he's not going to be a right back long term, and he has to possibly contemplate the conversion to a center back role.
Well, I mean, he's played center back for Mönchengladbach.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like regularly, but he did do parts early in the season, and he showed he can do it for us. So he's just not going to give you anything going forward. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I think we did it. I think that's it. Right on 2 hours. All right.
Exactly.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with Grandma. I want to thank all 296 of you who were here at one point. We do appreciate that. There's still 285 of you here left. And I hope you had a great Memorial Day and a Memorial Day weekend. We'll see where this goes, man. It's just, I'm a little itchy about all this. And I think lots of you are too. We'll see how it all works out and shakes out. And we got 2 good teams coming for friendlies next month. And I'm hoping that ends up being good.
It'll be nice. At minimum. It'll be nice to see Luna get more control of the team. A little more control in the midfield. Let me rephrase this. And it'll also be nice to get an opportunity to take a look at somebody like Sebastian Berhalter and Quinn Sullivan get a look too.
Right.
And see where they may possibly fit in long term.
I mean, they'll get 10 here, 15. We'll see how that works out. Yes. Walker, Pulisic, Sargent, Brendan, Josh are all known golfers. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that Brendan's going to be playing any golf next window. I don't think anybody's going to be. No one's playing golf next window.
I feel like Reem has to be in there too, right?
I think so.
He looks like he enjoys the golf.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes that's presumptive, but anyhow, we will be back on Thursday. Until then, make sure you like, subscribe, as we said before, share it with Grandma, and try with your stepsister. Try some different positions. It doesn't always have to be missionary or 69. Try something else. All right. Until next time, we'll see you. Good night.
That hurt.
I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating ass, it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, it's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to touch your